Hey, in this video, we're going to go over user role settings in course systems and websites. Hey everyone, in this lesson, we're going to go over what are user roles in settings. So user roles are permissions that control the access of features for every user, whether it's a teammate or a student. And user roles are available in a lot of systems, whether it's, your courses, your websites, your communities. And then roles are really permissions. So think of them as templates where they are specifying what you can do. And, it could be creating something, editing something, deleting something, changing something. So there's a whole bunch of permissions and you group them together into a template, and that is your user role. So, and these user roles can cover a wide scope, like every part of your course. So a helper could be a helper across all your courses or a very specific course. And the same thing goes for customers. So your student could have access to just all the resources within a course, or potentially have access to all your resources across all your courses. So think of those things as scope. How wide are these capabilities? So there are some common roles that are found in most systems. And then, of course, on more advanced systems, you can really configure or create your own roles. So the first one is the account owner. And that's really that's probably you, the teacher, the entrepreneur, the business owner. And that's where you define, your passwords. That's where you add users and maybe connect to your payment system or, change the password on your entire course system. So that's the account owner. Next up is the very powerful administrator. They can create, edit, and do lots of things across the entire system. So they are pretty powerful. And there's probably just a handful of administrators on your team. Next up is a very popular editor or teacher or author. And they're going to help you assemble content, change the pages, configure chat rooms, create new pages or a post for your teacher website. That's what the editor does. And they can create a lot of content, but they can't just shut down your whole system, right? So they're very powerful and they can probably access all the different types of content that you offer on your system. And then finally, we have students or customers or clients or coaching students, and they can access whatever it was that's either free or paid that they purchased. And so those are different levels that you'll use. So, and now let's think about security for a second. So user roles do not have security passwords. They're simply a collection of privileges that are assigned to users. Every user has a password, and what the user can do is defined by the user role that they have. And in some systems, you can even have multiple roles. So a person could have a student role, but they can also have a role that says, hey, they're a VIP and they bought the student bundle. So they have access to across multiple courses. And then with, as you're thinking about defining these roles, kind of aim for the minimum rights. You don't want to give people extra rights, just the minimum rights of what they need to be happy and do their job or enjoy the content that you've created. You don't want to just go ahead and give the people abilities that could potentially change or modify your system or affect other users. And a good practice to do with user roles is to schedule audits. So you might have it on your calendar once or twice a year. And that's where you'll review the different user roles. What are the user roles? What are the current privileges that each user role has? You might look for outliers like, hey, let's go check out some of the new students that were added and see what are the default roles and capabilities that they have. And you might even create yourself a test student to go in and poke around and make sure that you see just the right stuff, not too little and not too much. And then you'll also want to review changes as your team evolves over time. Maybe your administrator leaves, or your tech helper, or your curriculum designer comes and goes or swaps out. So you want to review that you've turned off the rights for prior users. And even though they still have the role, but that user will be, potentially disabled, or you might just pull out that role from those old users and verify that your new teammates can just carry on those new user roles, and they can have and do everything that the prior role did. And in general, so user roles are going to help you simplify your HR, your operations, and your tech. You don't have to have, like, if you have hundreds or thousands of students, you're not clicking on a bunch of permissions and really trying to copy paste and trying to configure. And as your new courses evolve, did you update all your settings? So with user roles, you have a nice collection, let's just say 5 to 10 user roles that you use, and your hundreds of students, customers are using those very simple, well-defined roles. And then you have your team. As you grow, they also use a set of very well-known, predefined roles that let them do their job. Okay, so I hope this has helped you learn what is a user role and think about how you might use user roles in your business, and especially as you grow with users and your team. All right, thank you. See you later.